In Israel today, members of the Bibas family were laid to rest. Mother Shiri and her two young sons, Ariel and Kfir, were killed after being abducted by Hamas during the October 7th attack. They were returned to Israel last week. International correspondent Giles Gibson is in Tel Aviv for us with more on these developments. And Giles, how did the funeral for the Bibas family play out? Who was there and how many people came out to show their support?
Yeah, it was another somber day here in Israel with a funeral procession making its way through the streets of Nir Oz, which is a kibbutz near the border with Gaza, where Shiri Bibas and her two young sons were kidnapped by Hamas on the 7th of October 2023. Many people came out onto the streets to watch the funeral procession go by, and also there was a large crowd gathered here in Tel Aviv in what's known as Hostages Square. The Israeli President Isaac Herzog really speaking for the country as a whole when he said that an entire country is in a time of mourning. And we also heard from Ariel Bibas, who is the father of those two young boys, the only member of that family of four to survive his time in captivity inside Gaza, with this heartbreaking message, a eulogy at the funeral, saying to his wife and two young children, "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you."
Such a sad story, Giles. Where are the negotiations over moving into phase 2 of the ceasefire? Could they be moving along? Could we see an ending to all of this soon?
Well, we've at least averted an immediate collapse of the ceasefire. That's because Hamas and Israel have done a deal under which the bodies of 4 more Israeli hostages are going to be released by Hamas in exchange for just over 600 Palestinian prisoners being released. That was something that the Israeli government has put on pause since the weekend, and then another sort of unspecified number of Palestinian prisoners also being released. We expect the handover of the hostages' bodies to be conducted through Egyptian officials, so none of the sort of staging, the ceremonies that we've seen in previous rounds, which Israel had objected to. The timing is still a little bit unclear, but we expect it to happen by the end of Thursday local time here in Israel. In the meantime, no confirmation at all yet in terms of official confirmation about moving on to phase 2 of the agreement. It looks like we are heading for the most likely scenario, an extension of the first phase, so that the two sides can just have more time to negotiate some of the really trickier issues that are part of that second phase.
All right, thank you for reporting for us. I know on a national day of mourning there in Israel, international correspondent Giles Gibson live in Tel Aviv for us. Thank you, Giles.